I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody have a chance to read the minutes of the July 17th meeting.
I move we accept the minutes.
Seconded.
Moved by Jill, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any requests to be out of state between now and, what is it, the
21st.
21st?
I'll be gone from the 8th to the 11th.
You know, you need to start taking like a swim.
You tell me.
Anybody want to? Mark, go.
I move that we allow Mark to be out of state 8 through 11.
Second.
Okay, moved by Steve, second by Stewart.
You going somewhere fun when you bring us presents?
Scout camp. I can bring you presents, but you won't want them.
Yeah, no kidding.
You're good, thanks.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any unfinished business? No. New business, preliminary budget, Jody.
Hold up,
You're
I'm
gonna-
writing.
When's your fire department? They're gonna be here.
I know, neither one of them are. So, I can kind of go, probably, is there any questions to start with? It's in your packet, I tried to do pretty good notes as to what I thought you might have questions on, why there was revenue that wasn't there this year, or, and we went over the general fund, at the last meeting. I do have the taxes now set, in the second email that I sent you on Saturday, or Monday, I think I sent these last out. I did, with the proposed budget from last year and for a $50,000 house with 3 lots, the increase in taxes will be $2.44 from last year. $100,000 house with 4 lots, the increase is $4.87, and $200,000 house with 4 lots is $9.75. So we're actually fairly status quo from last year. There is no proposal from the budget committee to increase any of the front footages. So the only increase will be just our cost of living increase that we get from, that is allowable when we set the mills by the state. And that, if I can find the form, it was 0.82% was the inflation that we were able to increase from last year.
I'm sorry, what was it?
0.82% is a lot. So really, the budget itself is fairly status quo because it needs to be, because we don't have more money.
How does 0.82 stack up against previous years?
Pretty normal. Yeah, we don't get a lot. Sometimes it's 1.5. That 0.82 is low, probably, but it's not a lot. There have been previous legislative sessions when they did try or talked about making it so it wasn't that. It was the full inflation value instead of half. That never flies very far though when they try to do that. So
is the 0.82 like, is that set by the legislature?
yeah, yep.
Jody, what did our property value do? What did the value of the mill
Oh.
do this year?
It dropped a little.
Oh, it went down.
It went from, it was 159 last year, and it went down to, or 2,059 last year, and it's 2,030 this year. We did have more in newly assessed property, so that does make a difference. Newly valued properties is taxed differently. I'm not really sure how that works, but I get that from Elaine at the assessor's office. I'll kind of go just a little bit over the fireman's budget, just because that it is a little different. It's their rotation, or their monies that they get from the county. They are looking,
What page is that, Joe?
It's under final budget dash
It's-
one.
yeah, it's right behind the general fund, so it'll be the fourth one in,
Fire protection, Jody.
fire protection, yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of wrote all this out, but the roof repair that they're talking about is one of the state shops. In order for them to, if we were to have a fire or anything, right now, it leaks, and so if they don't get that fixed, then like Forest Service can't rent that building, and they usually do use those buildings, if we do end up with. So kind of what they're looking at is, budgeting to kind of do the same that we did possibly, and this is just budgeted, to do the same as we did with engine one, which means that we would share the truck with the county, which, engine one works very well that way. And, it is their rotation for the 50,000. They're thinking of using out of their capital improvement money, they wanna keep 25,000. So, they would use,
They would keep
nine-
25 of the 50?
25 of the 44,727. So we would have to look at either RD grant loan money to offset the the 25,000, 31,000, I guess it would, and it kind of depends on what the truck costs. That's kind of something that they would like to do, so we budgeted for it, not knowing for sure when. I don't know for sure when exactly they get that money from the county. I'm not sure. They do want to buy, they came and talked about when they were here the last time, the bunker gear. They want to buy 5 more. Unfortunately, it, of course, the price has increased about 5%, so it's $400 more. So instead of probably transferring money into capital improvement like we did last year, we won't, because we're gonna spend $9,600 for the bunker gear. They've been pretty proactive. Matt and Steve, we talked for quite some time. They want to get into rotations of, like, every 2 years, buying gloves that are very expensive, about $2,500. They're slowly going to need new helmets, and all this gets shared, some of it gets shared with the county. But if they, we haven't bought new stuff for a long time, thinking that it was okay because we don't have very many fires. But it's time, and there's some of that stuff that they didn't realize, does,
Age out.
yeah, even if you don't wear it, so they won't warranty it, so that's probably the main change. The rest is questions on. We went over the general fund last meeting, nothing really changed there. Mike was looking at some fire pits for the campground, some refurbishing some signs, that's in the general fund. Other than that, if you don't have any questions, it's pretty much the same as last year.
Anybody got anything?
No.
There's mine.
There's mine.
meeting, we'll have a public hearing before the meeting on the budget.
Go ahead and make a motion, I'm not sure if you need to, but if that, this is
I
okay.
move that we approve the preliminary budget.
Second?
Thanks, I'm not sure if we need to.
Okay, been moved by Stuart, second by Steve, to approve the preliminary budget, is there any more discussion?
So we have to vote on the final budget.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
resolution.
Right.
There was some talk, you know, so it's just better to, I guess.
Jody, is this document able to be publicly available, or is it too early for that?
No, it will be as of tomorrow, because it will be in the paper tomorrow, that it is.
Okay. Aye.
Motion to approve the budget, preliminary budget. Our volunteer firemen,
They forgot to come.
forgot to come. Okay, we need to vote on authorization to place delinquent water charges on property tax.
No.
These are, how old are they?
Over 90 days. And we did send out letters, certified letters to these people.
So it is people, it is not a person that owes that much.
No,
Oh, good.
no, it's
I'm
people.
gonna say, who's using that much water?
No.
Can you give us a ballpark, is it 2 people or 10 people or 20, or I mean, is it a lot of people or is it
10,
10 people? Okay.
It's still a lot of water.
yeah. But we can only do this
Right.
very so often, so, you know, and some people, I guess we've done it a few times and it works for them, so.
And that total amount was, $3,754, that one, that's that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that just a standard procedure for some people? Is it out of the ordinary? Is it a number that's up?
It's up,
It is up, okay.
but
There is one that said, you know, I just put it on my taxes and that's fine.
Mhm.
That's the way they like to pay it.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I move that we authorize placing delinquent water charges on the property taxes.
Second,
Second.
is by Jill. Is there any discussion?
Aye.
Okay, we need to vote on resolution 828. And what that is changing the signatures on the bank account, Adam Stewart, President Council. So
This is just adding Stewart to the existing, right?
correct, there's
Removing
Jody,
Jack.
Mike.
Removing Jack and adding.
We were already at an earlier.
I was already on.
He was on as council president.
Okay.
So did he get changed to mayor on that, or does it matter?
It doesn't
It's just a
matter,
signature.
it's just a signature.
Signature card, so. I need a motion.
So move.
Second?
Motion by Mark, seconded by Steve. Any discussion?
Hmm.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I have a hard time not voting.
I mean, you can vote, it just won't count for anything.
Save it.
Everybody had a chance to look at the claims.
Yes, sir?
Yes,
Yeah, I think we all signed it.
I'll make a motion,
Okay, moved by Jill, seconded by Stewart. Any discussion?
Aye.
Don't hear from him anymore. Public Works Director.
Everybody's got a big report because I think there wasn't one in July, and I don't know if there was one in June either.
I think we had a short one in June.
Okay. I'm just gonna hit the high points, it's pretty self-explanatory, you can read through it. Starting with wastewater, back of the report is all the sample data going back to the end of May. Everything's been a report, everything there's been good. We did get the polymer system hooked up and running, and we've got it fairly well dialed in. We've got a fair amount of the material that was in violation with the Corps of Engineers removed. We're about 70 calculation.
Not 72 and a half.
No, it was 73. Right now, you probably see them around town. The construction companies are in doing the relining project. We have Sixform doing the lining and Central Excavation doing the excavation for the services. As of today, we're about 52% done with the lining and 23% done with the digging. So, and Towel's got a guy on site, monitoring their work, inspecting it, and documenting it. Everything's gone good so far. We haven't had any major problems or conflicts. So that's going good. I don't know when they'll be done. I expect the liners will be out here mid-next. On the water, we're pumping a fair amount of water now, but we always do in July. It's actually a little bit less than the last 2 years. Our water loss is up right now. We don't know where. So that's it's on one of our to-do list to find out where we're losing water. We're got a 25% loss rate in July. In 16 we had 19, and 17 we had 17, so it's up.
Like previous
You're good.
months.
It's been creeping up. I can't tell you off the top of my head right now, but, and it changes. It actually, the more water we pump, the lower our loss rate goes.
Cause you're still using the sewer.
We have a leak that's worth about 3 million gallons.
Gotcha, yep, yep,
And
okay.
if we're only using 6 million in a month, then.
That's
you know,
50%.
Yeah.
So that, the percent loss is really only good to compare month,
Right,
July to
same month.
July.
Yep.
I'm sure everybody knows about our windstorm. We lost a couple trees in the park. We had a lot of damage in the park. We lost a handrail on the bridge. In shape other than to remove a stump.
Is that the one that pushed up all the grass? I thought you guys had left a pile of grass in the park, and I'm like, why?
No,
Nope, that's true, never mind.
Are you gonna move those stumps off,
Everybody,
like people?
now we've got quite a few. I don't actually have a good count on how many boulevard trees we lost, but I'm guessing there's around 6 that were either.
You just fill with dirt?
I haven't figured out what we're doing there yet. Yeah, those will probably, they'll get pulled out. We'll put some dirt in there and plant a tree back.
Well, no, those were, weren't they ash that fell?
There's 2 ash over there and 1 cottonwood, I believe.
So are you gonna cut down that broken one that's there?
Much. We've got a lot going on.
Right, yeah, I imagine.
So that's at, streets. We're still patching some potholes, since the last meeting. Last time I was here, we have had the asphalt zipper out quite a bit. It works really well.
Did you get the smaller one?
We have not got the smaller one yet. Supposedly, the last I heard, they had a very good candidate for us in their hands. They're sending it back to the factory for refurbishing, and it is there now getting refurbished. So I expect within a month, maybe we'll have the smaller one back.
Okay.
We'll still have a few more roads to grind as soon as we get done with this sewer lining project. We're still trying to shoot for doing some chip sealing, like September, depends on the weather. Like to get it done this fall yet.
So can you tell me, and it's been a little while since on that road, so it might already be done, but Airport Road, what's happening with that one? And then maybe that's a state thing?
It's a county thing.
County thing. Do we know anything
Same with
about that?
Bellevue.
I really don't.
Okay.
When I talked to the county crew, they said that their plan was to leave it that way until they could get oil and chip seal it. Happened, I don't know, cause that was May or June, it was shortly after they did it.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I talked to Darren or Doug, I talked to one of them about it. Cause I was getting people asking me questions and so I went to them and that was what I was told.
And then is that also a county going, from the tennis courts down to the, okay,
Sherman Lane is a county road as well. Yep.
thank you.
Mike, regarding the 2017 collection systems improvement, do you have a list of closure, like dates of closures for which roads are gonna be closed and when?
For the most part, the only real road closures that are gonna be associated with that is Seventh Street Southwest.
Okay.
I believe that today closed.
Okay.
The rest of the closures are just alleys. There might be, there's a possibility, there might be one, like two, street when they bypass pump, when they're down by the highway, cause we're not allowing them to pump across the highway.
Sure.
They have a pump ladder over there. Here, cause it's been, we've had what I think has been a really busy year in the park between the 4th of July, baseball tournaments, divisional swim meet, and, Greg Crabtree and Larry Rulon are the parks guys, and they've done an excellent job, I think, so I just wanna put that in there. Those guys do that. I keep, they
Heard nothing but good things from, especially at the swim meet. Our park is, that even though they have to camp all the way down there away from the pool, it's really nice because there's shade and there's the creek and there's room.
Thursday morning for a swim meet. Friday night would be impressive. Those guys did a good job.
Yeah.
GIS is, this time of year, we're not doing much with it. We were able to take all the camera data that Pace generated when they film those lines, and it basically they map the services and they give you distances to every service, and we were able to get that into a GIS layer, so that's pretty neat. This is the sample results, and, the only clarification I make on there is a lot of these results, I mean, they're, for like the BOD, those are all really low, but in reality, a lot of those are, when the lab gives us back, those are it's less than that. They can't measure it that low. But all likelihood, those numbers are probably high. So this plant's working really good.
So, under streets, on number 4, you have Main Street DOT Advisory Board.
Oh, yeah, I think I mentioned that last time. One of the things that came out of that
Oh,
The media assessment.
media was to try and be proactive in dealing with the DOT about Main Street. And I guess I put that on there mainly because I have, a few people that I'd like to suggest to be on that board, but I also would like some input from the council, and we're gonna try and put together a small, and like to envision a 4-person things that they thought we could bring to the deal. Potential conflicts, things will come up, and it might make or what we want as a community of it, and,
20 years.
Right. Or 30.
Or 30.
So, and I've been meaning to get on that, I just haven't, but if you guys have some individuals to talk to me about, and what I probably do, I think, is put that together and then bring it to the council. Along too.
You know, Mike, the only thing out on my radar was, and it's maybe more of a fall or spring thing is, we talked about what it would cost to put concrete in on the railroad crossings, so that we don't keep.
Yeah,
And I know it's down the road, I just wanted to
Yeah, no,
mention
it's
it.
still on the radar.
Okay.
I talked to a contractor again the other day and prodded him about giving me a price per, you know, come in, remove material, they come in for it. On 220,
DOT or the railroad would do any cost sharing? Clear those out and put it back in.
I don't have a clue, I don't know if either one of those are gonna allow us to do it, let alone cost share it. At this point, I'd be happy with permission,
Okay,
or the ability.
or forgiveness,
not get in
whichever
trouble.
one.
Yeah.
Um, You know, if we got, the way it's gonna evolve is probably on our streets, cause there's gonna be a lot.
Sheriff's office.
Office, so there's,
It's getting real,
The rubber's coming
like
up.
it's hitting the underside of the car kind of thing, so.
you know, they came out here last year and tore it apart, put it back together, and I think with good. I think it's to the point it needs broke down.
Any other questions?
No, I do have something I wanna say though. I was talked to by a resident today who wanted me to express to you that they really appreciated after that storm, not the next day, but that night, cleaning up stuff, clearing streets. So just, there's a big thank you out there to you guys and your crew for getting that done so that everything could flow the next morning.
Yeah, well,
So,
and the fire department was, they were out there in force too, I mean, they
Okay.
took as many trees as the city crew.
okay,
When-
we'll make sure to talk to them too.
When the credit gets passed around, they should definitely get a portion of it.
Jody, do you have anything?
I already talked. That's basically, other than I will introduce the new employee, Tom Brownfelder. He's just coming because sometimes he may have to do what I'm doing here, but it's working out very well. And I just want to welcome him aboard.
Yay.
Thank
you for having me.
You still wanna do it after spending like a week?
I've beat him to his chair.
I am excited.
I wonder why he hadn't moved since I got there.
I'm excited for the experience and I'm glad to be.
Catching on really fast,
Good.
Very fast.
coming along real quick.
And we've been busy and crazy and, you know, he's rolling with it really easy, so that, and
Steve, anything?
Yeah, a couple things. At Lions Club last night, Jenny Lee was there, gave us a report on the swim meet that happened last week. Big kudos to everyone involved in that. You know, I was at summer camp with scouts for most of that, but a very highly praised report on the way everything went down, the way the city came together, the community came together to make sure that it all went off without a hitch. A lot of compliments from people out of town, so kudos for that. And then the other thing was, this Thursday, 7 p.m. at the Methodist Church, I'm helping organize a town hall discussion on childcare in Choteau. One of our residents, Heather Doody, approached me about a lack of childcare in Choteau, and I don't have any solutions. I don't have children myself, but I'm hoping that we can come together as a community and as we have in the past and have a discussion and try and find some solution.
windstorms when neat, and Mike's only another week behind in things he was gonna do this summer.
We get a week behind every week.
It'll snow next week, so.
Hey.
Everything.
You know, after 102 degrees Friday, that might be okay.
Fires are next.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Everybody's been putting up with me a little bit of time I've given them, but this is my last year at John Deere, so.
Oh, wow.
Your last year?
Yep.
Your last, okay, I think you said your last
Wait,
day or
wait,
something.
No,
Like, will it
no,
be
last
December?
year.
Okay.
Like December?
I don't know.
Sometime the next 48 to 64.
Like my father-in-law usually when they piss me off.
I threatened that, but that doesn't work. So I will have more time for the mayor position, do some things that we want to get done, so.
That's good.
Right now, Jody just called me to bring your pen, start signing.
Sign here.
Exercise
It's
your
working
wrist
out
on the way
fine.
down.
I haven't heard any complaints. In fact, it's been fairly quiet the last 2 weeks.
Yes. I don't have anything to report.
How about Paul? Report to you on when the sidewalks are put in.
There's supposed to be a press release coming out.
I got part of my tree down.
Yeah,
I move we adjourn.
meeting is adjourned.
Okay, we're doing.
I think everyone signed.
Okay,
You gotta pound your thing.
Oh, I will. It is fun.
is that one still in there? Oh, good.
Actually, I do have a question.